Hi, I'm Anne. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing a quick book tag, and then we are going to do a mini book haul because I went to Half Price Books, and basically the only reason I did this was because my husband and I discovered a gift certificate. He's not sure how old it is, but he was like, here, take this and spend some books on it. So I had a budget of like $25, and I went in with my mother, and it ended up being only like $21, but my mom found a couple books, so I was like, here, just take the other $4 for your books. So it all worked out well. So first off, we're going to do the book tag. Today I'm going to be doing the Booktube Dog Tag. I was tagged by Nikki from Red Dot Reads, and this tag was created by Danika, Leigh, Ellis, and I will link both their videos down in the description. So number one is tell us about your dogs. I have one dog. This is Loki. He is about 2 years old, a year and a half old. He is a Maltese, 7 pounds, obviously a boy, and he is the sweetest little boy. We did not name him Loki. He was named because his previous owner was a big fan of the Thor movies, and she was going between calling him Thor and Loki, and she decided he was a little mischievous boy, which he most certainly is. Yes, he is. So she went with Loki, and she requested when we took him that we keep the name. So we kept the name. He's the sweetest little boy. He is demanding in certain ways, but he also is pretty low maintenance. Number two, what would be your dog's favorite book? So to be honest, his favorite book would not necessarily be one specific book, but I've noticed with dogs, the books that they really adore are the books that have been passed from many hands, so they have many scents on them. So a lot of the books that I bring home from like the Goodwill or like thrift stores, he really gets into smelling, and all my dogs in the past have done that, so I think it's just like a dog thing. So like, for example, as you'll see later in this video, the books that I got from Half Price Books, he was very much into because they had very, very strong scents. So yeah, I would say for him, it's mostly the old used books that he really enjoys smelling the most, because let's face it, dogs can't actually read. Number three, use the first letters in book titles to spell your dog's name. Luckily, his name is only 4 letters long, Loki, L-O-K-I. So for the first book, I did Lady Clementine by Marie Benedict as the L. And then I have Outrun the Moon by Stacey Leigh as the O. I have Kidnapped, which I just read by Robert Louis Stevenson as the K. And then I have Imperial Woman by Pearl S. Bach as the I. So, L-O-K-I. Number four, what's your dog's relationship with books? He doesn't really have a relationship, but I will say so often he likes to curl up next to me with whatever I'm doing. That includes editing my videos. As you can see, filming my videos, he's always has to be near me, and also with reading books. If I curl up in bed with a book, so often he will want to be right next to me. So yeah, he just likes to be near me when I am doing anything, and he especially likes when I'm sitting down and reading or doing something on my computer, because then he gets to sit and cuddle next to me. If I'm like moving, listening to an audiobook, he doesn't like that. So he's definitely a fan of the physical and ebook reads. I'm just saying, he's not a big fan of audiobooks. Number five, what's your favorite book with a dog? I have a few favorites, but the first one that came to mind was The Call of the Wild by Jack London. Definitely a darker story of a dog. Most of my favorite dog books, like Because of Winn-Dixie, or a couple more I'll be mentioning later, they're much happier. They may have like sadder endings, but this one is a very harsh book because it tells the story of a dog who gets kidnapped from his family in San Francisco and taken up to the Klondike in Alaska to be a sledding dog, and he goes through brutal dog fights. He almost gets killed several times. It's a pretty horrific read, but I also just love Buck, the main dog character. I just love him so much. And he comes alive as like a real character, even though he is a dog. And that's what I find with every dog I get to know, is each dog is very unique in of themselves. And I think this book very much demonstrates that. So this is probably my favorite like dog-centered book. Number 6, find a book on your shelves with a dog on the covers. For this, I decided to go with Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls. This is an exceptional book, and I'm pretty sure I read this exact copy when I was about 12 or 13. And yeah, it will have you crying at the end, but it's basically about a boy who trains these two dogs and spends a lot of time with them, hunts with them, goes out in the wilderness with them. So it's a very endearing book, even though it has a bittersweet ending. Number 7, find a book with the word dog in the title. I looked at every book on my bookshelves, all my bookshelves, and I could not find one single one. So we're going to go as close as possible. And that is The Hound of the Baskervilles, which is a Sherlock Holmes book. I don't have it in a separate copy, but it is contained in this big collection of Sherlock Holmes. So hound, dog, it's the same thing kind of. So I'm going to count it technically, even though I don't have a book that has dog in the title. I'm not going to tag anyone because I'm pretty sure either everyone I watch has already done that or they don't have a dog. So I don't want to tag them and say, oh, do this, even though you don't have a pet. So instead, we are going to get to the very short half-price books book haul. Now, most of these were in the clearance section of half-price books because, no offense, but half-price books seems a little bit expensive to me. And I feel like that's just me being crazy, but like, there's certain books I'm willing to spend more on, like if it's a beautiful copy of a book. But like a lot of their copies are meh, and they're like $8. And I'm like, I could get that for like $3 somewhere else. I'm not going to do that. So that just me being ridiculous. And technically, this may be me breaking my book buying ban. However, since it is a gift card, it's kind of like a gift. So I'm not going to count it. Plus, most of these books I've already read, or I'm specifically getting it for a book concept I am working on in the future, which I will talk about when Preptober comes around. So here I have 6 books. 6 books. I have read 3 of them. 3 I have not. 1 I'm hoping to read this month, so it doesn't count as a book that I buy and then never read. So let's go to the ones that I have read. First 2 are Dorothy L. Sayers. You know I can't resist Dorothy L. Sayers, and both of these were like between $2 or $3. The first one is Strong Poison, which I have another copy of, but it's a very old antique copy, and I don't necessarily want to read from a lot of the old copies I own because I want to keep them in pristine condition. So instead I bought this because, you know, again, it was like $2.50, and I was like, this I would feel comfortable reading, even though it is kind of an old copy. But like I would be a lot more comfortable reading this or bringing it on trips or things like that. And the other one I got was Busman's Honeymoon. So this one is the first book with Harriet Vane in it, and this one is the last book with Harriet Vane in it. So there are 2 books in between those. So Have His Carcass and Gaudy Night. So maybe eventually I'll buy copies of those too. And the next one I got was A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. And if you haven't read this book, this is an exceptional book. It basically centers around a group of Europeans who are in India, and also this Indian man who is falsely accused of a crime he did not commit. I won't give any more spoilers away, but it's an exceptional book, and it really brought attention during this time. I think this was written maybe in the 20s or the 10s. But it really brings awareness of like just how horrible the Indian people were treated and how in many ways entitled the British people were. So it's an incredible book, not even beyond even the, I guess, social commentary this book talks about. It is also just a very well-written book. You are very much on the side of certain characters and very much against certain characters. So it's a good book. So I did not own a copy of this, and I think this was like $3. So I was like, yes, I'll buy that. All right, so the next 2 are for the book I'm writing. The book I'm kind of researching right now is a fantasy book, but it's very much based on 2 historical eras. One is 400 AD, so right after the fall of the Roman Empire in England, and the other one is 1400. So I kind of am studying their 2 eras to kind of learn about it. So I found this kid's book. This was $1, so I picked it up. But it's a little castle book. It's a tiny little kid's book. And it is something that if I was a child still, I would absolutely love to read it because the pictures are amazing and it has like layouts of castles and things like that. It's a very cute book, and it also had, you gotta see, oh yeah, how to make a knight's helmet out of cardboard. Isn't that like the best thing you've ever seen? So yeah, this was $1. It was in the clearance section, and I just enjoy looking through these like tiny little castle books. So yeah, I picked that up. The next one is also a very interesting book, and I'd never heard of it, but it sounds fascinating. So I would count it as nonfiction, but it is Chronicles. Jean Forsot, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he was in the 14th century, the mid to late 1300s. He was the companion to the Queen of England for a while. He was almost like a servant to her, and then he went on to being around the king. I think it was King Edward. Yes, King Edward III, and then eventually he met Chaucer, who wrote the Canterbury Tales, and he also was alive when Richard III was in power. So he wrote about what he saw, his experiences in this book. So it is very much a product of its time in the late 1300s. So I was really excited to find this. And again, I think it was about like $6 to $7, so it wasn't that expensive. And it is very much the time period I'm focusing on the book. So I thought this would be really interesting to read, to kind of get a grasp of like what that era was like. And the final one that I probably shouldn't have bought, but again, it was $3 and I love the copy. And actually when I brought it home, Loki was just going crazy over it. So maybe this is his favorite book. It is The Forsyte Saga by John Galsworthy. So this book is a family saga. I believe it is 3 books. Well, saga would indicate 4, I think, but I thought it was only 3 books. But this contains all of it, and it has been a series I've wanted to read for a long time, and each book is quite short. So I've already actually gotten this in ebook form as well, so that I can read this this month, hopefully, so then I won't feel too bad about buying it because I'm going to read it immediately. But it is very much about the Gilded Era, maybe it's post-Gilded Era because I believe it mostly focuses on after the death of Queen Victoria up through the Edwardian era. Not 100% sure when it is set. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the 1890s. Can't remember. I've heard great things about it, and it's a book that I wanted to read for a long time. And again, it was like $3, so I couldn't resist it. So there's my very, very small book haul. So I decided to like condense these 2 videos into one because I knew alone they'd be very short videos. So have you read any of these books? Do you have a dog? What kind of books does your dog like? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe. I post every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!